Donald Trump can potentially be America's first dictator. Well, kind of. And by kind of, I mean not necessarily Trump, more like anybody can be. Well, anyone with carefully orchestrated plans can abuse America's Constitution and become a fascist dictator in charge of our country. But, surely this can't happen, right? Well, by using a theory proposed by a famous mathematician, anyone can potentially alter the US Constitution to allow themselves to become sole dictator.
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course US History, and today we're going to talk about the United States Constitution. And in doing so, we're going to explore how the American style of government became the envy of the entire world, so much so that everyone else copied us. What's that, Stan? We're not going to talk about other countries stealing our form of government because no other countries stole our form of government? That doesn't seem possible, Stan.
Gödel's loophole refers to a fascinating incident involving the famous mathematician Kurt Gödel during his US citizenship process in 1947. Gödel, known for his work in logic and math, claimed to have found a logical flaw in the US Constitution that could potentially allow for a dictatorship. During his naturalization interview, he began to explain this discovery to a judge. However, his friends Albert Einstein and Oscar Morgenstern, who were concerned about his tendency to overthink, managed to steer the conversation away from his controversial and theoretical topic. Although Gödel never disclosed the exact nature of the loophole, it has intrigued scholars and enthusiasts for decades.
Article 5 details it out very specifically how we change the Constitution. We call this the amendment process. Now, it's pretty common to hear the Constitution referred to as a living document. And this doesn't mean that it walks and breathes and has feelings. This means that it can be changed.
Article 5 of the Constitution provides the process for amendments. An amendment can be proposed by either 2/3 majority in both House and the Senate, or by constitutional convention called for by 2/3 of the state legislatures. Once proposed, it must be ratified by 3/4 of the state legislatures or by conventions in 3/4 of the states. Gödel might have seen that this process, although stringent, does not explicitly prevent amendments that could fundamentally alter the democratic structure of the government. For instance, a series of amendments could be designed to systematically dismantle the checks and balances that prevent any one branch from getting too much power, thus paving the way for authoritarian rule. In simpler terms, imagine a popular political leader with significant influence persuades Congress to extend the presidential term limit from 4 years to 8 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
This initial change might not seem harmless, but sets the stage for further consolidation of power. Next, this leader proposes an amendment that grants the president authority to dissolve Congress during emergency conditions, with the president alone deciding what constitutes an emergency. Following this, another amendment is introduced to allow the president to appoint additional Supreme Court justices, ensuring the judiciary is sympathetic for their agenda. Finally, an amendment suspends elections indefinitely during national crisis, which can only be declared by a president. Through these carefully orchestrated changes, the leader could effectively become a dictator, all while adhering to the new constitutional amendments that they helped create. Gödel's concern underscores the potential vulnerabilities within the Constitution. Even a robust system like the US can be manipulated if the safeguards against the concentration of power are not adequately maintained. The amendment process, designed to adapt the Constitution over time, can be exploited by those with enough influence and ambition. By extending presidential terms, granting emergency powers, controlling the judiciary, and suspending elections, a leader can methodically erode the democratic principles that the Constitution is meant to protect. This gradual process shows how important it is to remain vigilant in preserving democratic institutions. Each step in this hypothetical scenario might seem justifiable on its own, especially under the guise of national security or stability. However, when combined, these changes can lead to an alarming concentration of power in the hands of one individual or group. Gödel's story, while rooted in specific historical contexts, offers a timeless lesson about the fragility of democracy. His theoretical loophole highlights the need for constant vigilance and robust checks and balances to prevent the erosion of democratic institutions.